Good afternoon to all present here. Again, we are assembled here to attend another enriching session on academic writing. It is our privilege to welcome our esteemed resource person, Dr. Kalyan Chattopadhyay, who will guide us through the nuisance of scholarly writing and ma'am, some of sir's information ma'am shared, but some of the part remaining I will introduce. So, as an accomplished speaker, he has delivered a plenary and inevitable talk across various countries, including Cambodia, China, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Taiwan, Thailand, the UK, and Vietnam. He has also authored a course book for a prestigious publisher like Cambridge University Press and Collins. He recently edited Role of Industry, Academia, Inference in Skill Development. Interface in skill development, internalizing education policies with Routledge. His contributions to research have been recognized with accords such as IELT's Research Award, ELT Rep, and ELTRMS Award, and the JETBIL Belzom Asian Scholar Award, a distinguished alums of the University of Leeds and Honored Trust. He currently serves as the Global Ambassador, University of Leeds. So this is all about our esteemed speaker. Now I would like to invite you, sir. Stage is yours.
Why are you so nervous? So I was watching her and she was very nervous, right? Um, in the morning, I shared with your head of the department a short bio note, and that was in WhatsApp. And I think she was reading from there. But that's not the real introduction. What I actually do, I teach. So I'm a teacher. I started teaching very early after my post graduation, immediately after my post graduation. So I taught the secondary kids, and then I moved to the collegiate system, university system. We have a postgraduate system now. So, of course, basically, I am a teacher. I train teachers also. But that is the added responsibility. In India, particularly those of you are interested in doing research, there is a conflation of both teacher training, teacher development, and teacher education. These concepts are not clearly demarcated as in the West. So that's the problem. Now, when I joined the college, I found that my students, they are enrolling for English honors, but their English is neither good orally nor in terms of writing. So basically, my realization was that they need the skills first before they are exposed to a very good specimen of language, which is literature. Literature is a very sophisticated, refined specimen of language, right? And so, to appreciate it, to interpret literature, you require uh, a significant level of proficiency both in the oral and also in the writing. So, what should I do? That actually interests me to English language teaching. I started reading books about English language teaching because when I got the job, things were not as bad as you are today. Today, even for an assistant professor, I was joking with Dilip yesterday that imagine in our days, I would not have qualified even for an interview of assistant professor in a college or university because I didn't have the PhD then. Right. So we didn't need the PhD then. So you have a master's and NET, you can teach in college and university. So that was my case. But our English MA was heavily focused on literary components. It was 95% literary. The 5% was the history of the English language, philology. So nothing on the structure of the language, nothing as such. So basically, I became a teacher without knowing how to teach the language. Nobody told me how to teach. So who was the model? My teacher, whom I saw in the classrooms, both at the primary, secondary, collegiate, and university system, who taught me English. So they were the model, right? So I didn't have any inputs that how language acquisition takes place. I didn't have any knowledge about language learning strategies. I didn't have any knowledge about language task design, activity design. I was completely blank. So that interested me to language teaching. In order to help my students, I tried to do it. And then what happened is I got also interested in technology. So my MA from the University of Leeds, that is the second MA, was on MA TESOL and ICT, Information Communication Technology, right? Way back in 2009-10, right? Um, I'm pretty sure that many of you were in your very early age, maybe you were babbling. So at that time. Um, in 2012, I remember I saw Jheel like this. Uh, so I was telling her that I have seen you like this. So you can imagine how old I am now, right? An old man now talking to you. Now, coming back to learning how things actually develop, we of course have slides. We of course have worksheets which are with you, and I would like you to open them a bit later. Now, those things will come, but the first important thing for you to understand is that writing is not something new, it is in our culture. One is that you think that you do not have the skill. I say you have the skill, but the skill is you write in your mother tongue in Gujarati. So when you go to English, sometimes you transfer the skill set from Gujarati to English. So it is not that you do not have the skill, you have the skill, but it is a different sort of skill sets. Another thing is very difficult to, restrict yourself in a short session like this. But the problem is there is a huge difference between how we Indians write English and how the academic journals, the international publishers want you to write. These are two things. What is the difference? To be very straight and simple with you, the difference is they write directly, right? Um, I will examine some of your language specimens later on. I will show you that how you need to learn how to write directly. See, it's not that people are getting PhD. PhDs are done and dusted. But even in your PhDs, you write in a way that is not publishable in any good international journal. Right. So, and that's why if you go to your library, you must have the collection of PhD theses, go through them, check out. You have Mr. Google or you have so many AI tools. How many of them actually got published in reputed international journals? You will see not even 5%. That's because you don't know how to write academically. That is the great challenge. Okay, so let us now begin. uh, कैसे चलता है कीबोर्ड में oh, understanding academic writing. Okay. Okay. I can't see from here. That is the problem. What is written? Okay. Four key features of academic writing. Four key features of academic writing. What are they? Formality. What is formality? Okay, it should be in a specific form and specific structure. What is the second feature? Objectivity. So not subjective is objective. Okay. Sub Not subjectivity, objectivity in an impersonal way. Okay. Next, clarity. And what is the fourth one? Precision. Now it is time to open your worksheets. So this is what I mean by formality. Okay. So do I mean by formality? Avoid colloquial language. Contractions. Contractions, you know what is contractions? हाँ हाँ, हिंदी, संस्कृत, उड़िया, गुजराती, पंजाबी, फ्रेंच, स्पेनिश चलेगा. Any other person? Contractions. Can you give one example of contractions in English? You don't know. You know, but you don't recognize. Yes, anybody? Are you people are thinking a lot higher than I am asking you to. Contractions, not contradictions. Short forms, yes. Examples? Uh, yes, but at the same time, for example, do not, don't. So don't write, say in your academic writing, there is no scope of putting don't. Expressions like don't, isn't, right? Right is not, do not. Okay, then slang, and then overly personal expressions. Use standard grammar, complex sentence structures, respectful professional statement. Focus on argument and evidence. Informal. You can see from the graph that the numbers shoot up after 2010. This is informal. And then formal, the data presented in figure 1 demonstrate a pronounced increase in values following 2010. Now, if you look at these two examples, how do you Notice the difference between formality and informality. Okay, when you say you can see, look, it is already blocked. You can see. So you are telling someone else as if you are chatting with your friend. Ah, you can see that the data from the data it has shot up. The chatty language. But then when you say the data presented in figure 1 demonstrate, now think about this word demonstrate. Now I told you that in academic writing that the West follows, which is the canon. Now the West follows, or meaning the journals, all Taylor Francis, Routledge, Sage, and all these, journals where you want to publish your articles. Now they follow the second one. The demonstrate is an active verb which is used to state something directly. There is no indirect communication here. There are direct communications. The data presented in figure 1 demonstrate a pronounced increase in values. Pronounced is not that important. You can say significant. That's not the issue. Significant rise in values following 2010. That's the thing. This is important. So um, the important thing is data presented. The data is important. Nowhere here in informal writing there is the word data, but it is actually a data. Rise of numbers after 2010, and that you get from a graph. So the data presented in figure 1 is not graph, is not diagram, but you are numbering it. For example, if you look at any journal article, you'll see the figures, the diagrams, they are marked appropriately. Diagram 1, diagram 2, diagram 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. This is something you have to incorporate in your paper writing, book chapter writing, PhD thesis writing, everywhere. Because I am imagining, or I understand that 80% of you are actually MS students and 20% are of you PhD scholars and assistant professors also. So I'm trying to cover you both. Okay. Now look at objectivity. It's not subjectivity, objectivity dichotomy. Prioritize evidence and logical reasoning over personal opinion. So what we are concerned about is evidence. Just look at the difference. When you were here, you were talking about data. Data is also an evidence. Now the evidence must be interpreted logically. There has to be a logical reasoning. When we will go back later on to the research paper writing or thesis writing structure, you will see that in the methodology section you say that what methodology you are going to follow, then you collect your data using certain instruments, and after you finish collecting your data, what do? You try to interpret that data, and when you try to interpret the data, what do? You prioritize evidence, logical reasoning over personal opinion. You look at your data and you don't align yourself with that data. That what you do with the data. No. What the data actually tells you. What picture you are getting or emerging from the data. That is the evidence that you are gathering to support your what? Hypothesis. How many of you are PhD scholars? Raise your hands. आप लोग सब एक साथ आके बैठ जाओ एक लाइन में चेंज योर सीट्स The PhD scholars this side. Fast, fast. We don't have much time. Imagine you are catching a flight in 5 minutes. The boarding gate will close. Okay, thank you very much. Now, those of you who are doing PhD or PhD scholars, when you first thought of doing a PhD, I'm asking them, you listen, I will come to you later. So when you first thought of doing a PhD, what went through your mind? Huh? Objective. What was your objective? PhD करके कहीं भी घुस जाना. So involvement in the teaching field is your objective of doing PhD. Okay, grand. How many of you have heard about grand narrative? Grand narrative. Are you familiar with the work of Salman Rushdie? You don't know grand narrative. I basically teach language, but that does not mean I do not know language, literature. Okay. Now, when you started your PhD, the first thing you need or needed was a hypothesis. Your hypothesis. What was your hypothesis? What are you going to do? That was your hypothesis. Okay. So that is very significant. Now, hypothesis will lead to research questions. No. Everywhere there is a hypothesis. Everywhere. So basically what happens, you come from a background. For example, I am teaching a group of 10-year-old students how to use verbs in agreement with the subject. Right? So that is the statement. Could be your background. You can think about the students. Who are the students? Are they first generation learners? How much English they do know? So and so. That is their background. Then you can think about the rationale. Why you are doing it. But today we do not talk about the rationale. We talk about the background. We talk about the context. And then the hypothesis. How will the learners learn to use the verbs in agreement with the subjects? Your hypothesis could be that if I use pictures, so then the problem is, will the use of pictures help the learners to learn use verbs in agreement with the subject or not? That is the hypothesis. So what will be your research question? How will the teachers of 10-year-olds use diagrams, pictures, graphs to teach verbs and show the agreement with the subject. That will be the research question. So that is how things actually proceed. Objectivity. Subjective, I think Smith's theory is brilliant. Objective appears. Now, this appears, you will later find, is also known as hedging. Some of you have heard about the term hedging. Hedge. Hedge. We'll come to that. Hedging. I believe I will demonstrate. For example, when you write an abstract for a paper, what do you say? In this paper, I show, or I will show, I will argue, finally I will wrap up the discussion. So you structure your abstract that way. The next one is clarity. Very important thing. Topic, sentence, evidence, analysis, and link. Link is something you have to establish, how it is connected. You have to develop connections between the topic sentence and the, see, this is a topic sentence, and then there are so many satellite sentences. You have to connect them this way. Okay. So if this is topic sentence, then you connect it. This is linking. Okay. Now the same thing is about your master dissertation also. You have a topic sentence, you start linking those things. Those sentences with, smaller sentences or important sentences. Now that's how you can develop your logic or reasoning, argument. You can try to interpret, you can use it everywhere. Now some topic sentences use some transitional phrases. Furthermore, consequently, in contrast. Clarity. These are two examples. The first one is unclear. Why is it unclear? Why is it unclear? The first one, who can tell me? I'll randomly ask people. I'll randomly choose and ask. Huh? The results which were interesting about the model and its implications which were discussed later show something important. This is unclear. So what are the key words? Look at the key words. Result is a keyword. Model is a keyword. And what else? Implications, discussion. These are the keywords. Now look at the clear. The results of the predictive model have significant implications. As discussed in section 4, they demonstrate a strong correlation between X and Y. That was missing. So what was missing? Was a link. There's a topic sentence, but what was the link? This is unclear because it does not show any link. Results, good, which were interesting. So there were some interesting results. But those interesting results were about a model. Fantastic. So we had some interesting results about a model and its implications. So what are the implications of the model? We have some interesting results about it. Good. Which were discussed later. No problem. So something significant. What's significant? So the strong correlation that was missing. So that's why it is unclear. Any confusion? थोड़ा दिमाग में प्रेशर आ रहा है ना? Some of you are showing faces like this. अभी आएगा, कल लंच तक आएगा, बहुत प्रेशर आएगा. Okay, if you can learn, you can learn and learn also. Okay, I try to explain to you as much as I can. And if you find any problem, don't hesitate. Please ask me, because I want it to be interactive rather than, that's why I avoided that auditorium, because there I cannot interact. Here तो ये साहेब महोदय इधर बैठ गए, हमको उधर जाने नहीं देंगे, उधर से ही जाना पड़ेगा. So what will be the implications of today's teaching method I am following? So there could be only one implication. Tomorrow, instead of 100, I can see 80. It could be an implication. बोले नहीं, वो बहुत दिमाग वाले काम कर रहा थे. ठीक है. So precision, let us take some examples. Many scholars have written about this a long time ago. Why is this vague? It is not specific. Very long time ago. When? 30 years, 40 years, 20 years, 5 years? Nobody knows. And the second one is, seminal works on this topic were established by classical theorists. So they were cited and have critically revisited in recent decades, were cited. So, long time ago, made specific. Who are the scholars? Also made specific. For example, you people write abstracts saying many writers have thought it wise to teach pronunciation by using this and that. Who are the writers? Who are the scholars? Be specific. Okay? Try to be here. Remember, I am covering 1905 to 2020. Cover at least 10-15 years of research. And some of the key references in your PhD and MA dissertation. मैडम आपका क्या प्रॉब्लम है? हाँ, पढ़ाई छोड़ दोगे क्या? So what I am trying to do by saying someone has written in 1905 and in 2020. Who is this Weber? वेबर का पूरा नाम पता है क्या? कौन है? उसके बाद कौन है? कैमरा आपको दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है? तब चेयर लेके सामने आ जाओ. उधर एक चेयर खड़ा है, उसमें मेरा बैग है, आपको बैठा देता हूं. You are fine. Okay. Now you have to see. I am arguing that you have to cover a broad area of reference. Some of the references will be key texts, maybe written 100 years back, but they are so important in terms of your research that they hold a key argument which either you are going to reject or develop further. So you have to refer. But otherwise, restrict yourself with 10-15 years. Try to be as current as possible. For example, if you are doing PhD now, your references should cover mostly from 2010 to 2016, 2017. Because see, people may have researched in this area, but you are trying to refresh, research. Research का मतलब क्या है? What is the meaning of research?
When we search something, yeah,
Hmm.
fine. We have some
Search again. Research.
we have some problems in our mind and we
अरे वो
will
बात
try
छोड़ो ना. Research.
again.
You are searching again. Searching again for what?
Yes,
To do what?
for जो पहले सर्च हो चुका है उसके ऊपर again we have to try to
To
search.
find what? To find new information, new perspectives, new scenarios, new data, new knowledge, new skill sets. Okay. So that's research. Research is not something that you will only find knowledge. You can find a set of skills. For example, in Western universities, there is a research. For example, I can do a research how he has learned English language, and there can be a PhD. करना है किसी को इधर एमए वाले किसी को रिसर्च करना है इसके ऊपर केस स्टडी एथनोग्राफिक करो ना आई विल पर्सनली गाइड यू इनफॉर्मली रिसर्च हो सकता है क्या है नहीं do you agree that there can be research on a particular person or on a particular aspect? You can do ethnography, qualitative research, okay, case study. There can be multiple case studies and triangulation. There can be a single case study and then interpretation of the data that you get from the case study. Okay, okay, let's move. देखो इसमें क्या है. Following the addition of analyst A, the solution underwent an exothermic reaction reaching a peak temperature of 85 degrees centigrade. This observed thermal release is consistent with the catalytic oxidation mechanism proposed by Chen. Science, madam.
So that is a precision.
Exothermic, endothermic, you know that? Chemistry? Okay. Yes.
So there is precision of at what temperature it reached, what process is actually done. So
Any problem here? Now, this is something I want you to remember. So, where will you focus? You focus on your problem, you focus on your data, not focus on yourself. It is not important what you think about the data, but it is important how you will interpret the data. Or let us come back to literature, because many of you were doing or are doing PhD on literature. ये मेरे पास लिस्ट है, जिसका है वो हाथ ऊपर उठाना. A quest for belonging in the secret novels of Amitabh Ghosh and Jhumpa Lahiri, a diasporic study. किसका है? किसी का भी नहीं. Deprivation of the human rights and perennial alienation in the novel of Khaled Hosseini. Whose thesis? शायद भूल गए हैं. A semiotic investigation of the positioning of gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, and asexual people. Whose thesis? She is not present. इसको बधाई देना, किसी को भी नहीं छोड़ा है. A comparative a comparative study of feminist perspective through the works of Virginia Woolf and Anita Desai. A comparative study of Japanese and Kathiawari folktales compiled by Grace James, Richard Gordon Smith and Javarchand Meghani. किसका है? हाँ? Present. A comparative study of John Donne and Rabindranath Tagore's poetic work with specific reference to eco-criticism. Done. A comparative study of mythological women characters in the selected work of Chitra Banerjee. आपका है? Okay, so a comparative study of mythological women characters in the selected work of Chitra Banerjee, Devi Kurani, Kavita Kane, and others. Three only. Okay. So, what is your research problem?
The research problem is
अरे अभी ये तो मेरा स्टूडेंट जैसा है. When I am asking them what is actually density, they said, "Sir, I know, but I forgot." So you remember quickly.
comparison. So what am I supposed to say is what I'm going to do in the research. Is it my research question?
No, no, मैंने प्रश्न नहीं पूछा आपको. I asked you what is your research problem.
Yes, the mythology characters as specific in original sources as in Ramayana and Mahabharata, they are presented differently by these three writers. And I am going to analyze them and establish the similarities and contradictions. One thing. Second is when they are supposed to claim that their characters are empowered. I am analyzing the style of all these three writers and see what are how they are distinguished from each other. How their characters are different from each other, and by that I would establish that what do they mean by strong women.
Okay, thank you very much. Now you all of you have heard her. Now she has used certain words quite frequently. The one word that she used frequently is which word she used frequently? I. And then difference, then आपको ना एक एक्टिव लिसनिंग की ऊपर भी वर्कशॉप की जरूरत है. She was repeating the word establish at least 5 times. Okay. Now, madam, I am asking you, who are you to establish?
I don't remember whether I used establisher.
So, I am sure you are aware of the term problematics. we problematize. So I have to problematize your consistent use of the word establish. Okay. So I am going to now problematize that why this is an inappropriate usage. It doesn't have the clarity. It is informal. So you cannot establish anything. So as a researcher, I told you that don't focus on the researcher. Focus on the issues. Focus on your data. Focus on the information. Okay. Don't focus on the researcher. I am going to establish. No, that is not the purpose. You are not going to establish. If you think from the very beginning, that means a foregone conclusion. In law, if you are interested to know, you should. That, say, for example, in a case of trial, you are trying a criminal or any civil proceedings. You are working as an assistant professor in a college, and there is a charge against you, and a committee was set up to inquire against you. If the committee says by writing to you that we are going to establish your culpability, then the committee is gone in the eye of law. What happens? Bias comes in. So it is you not speaking, your bias as a researcher speaking. Are you clear? You have to change. है ना? थोड़ा दिमाग लगाइए. You read some good journal articles, not on Chitra, but on anybody else. Even on Shakespeare will do. You will see how they have problematized their questions. So you have a set of research questions and you are seeking answers to those questions. Whether the mythological representation were appropriate or not, to what extent Chitra Devi Kurani was appropriating the mythological representation of those characters or not, that you are trying to see, examine. Okay, you are not trying to establish that Chitra Devi Kurani was absolutely wrong in, representing it. Then you have a bias. So if you decide that you are going to hang me, that's the bias. And if you are giving me a fair trial, if you are listening to my side and the other side, and then you come to a decision, then that is natural justice. That is the use of law. In law, we talk about natural justice and fair play. We do not talk about bias. Okay, so that is it. A narrative study of selected story space hypertext fictions of Michael Joyce and Mark Bernstein. Ah. So yes, what are your research questions?
We have a set of traditional narratological tools given by
What is narratology for them, not for me?
certain devices used by writers in order to create a narrative.
Have you heard the name of Zoneth? Anyway, so narratological perspective, very good. And then what are you trying to show?
Whether the traditional narratological tools given by Janet Tudoro and all the Roland Barthes and everyone are applicable in selected story space hypertext fiction, because here the traditional entire space of writing a book or reading a book changes when we move from print literature to hypertext literature. So the medium changes, medium of reading changes, medium of analysis changes, medium of interaction changes. In traditional print literature, we have books to pages to turn in books. In story space hypertext fictions, we have to interact, we have to click in order to move to next chunk of text or to read further.
Okay, so have you understood what she has said? Any problem? No problem. You have understood? She said, you have understood. So now, please take your seat. So what you have understood? अभी डरो मत, मैं खा नहीं जाऊंगा. See, academic writing is a very boring topic. Somehow we have to sustain our energy for the next hour or so. So अगर interactions नहीं होगा तो क्या होगा? So we need to interact. Yes.
Hypertext means to connect.
What is a text? You tell me first. Is this a text?
Books.
No. Is this a text?
We can consider it
Why?
because there is information.
And there is no information here. अगर देखो असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर में इंटरव्यू में आ गया और मैं एक्सपर्ट हूँ तो मैं तो ऐसे ही पूछूंगा व्हाट इज अ टेक्स्ट. तब क्या होगा मालूम है आपको? अभी गर्मी का मौसम आ रहा है. सो यू विल स्टार्ट स्वेटिंग फ्रॉम हियर टू हियर. Last year happened in a college service interview in West Bengal. Unlike your Gujarat, we appoint teachers on substantive basis, meaning once you join, either you will die or you will retire. Okay, so and so the interviews are very significant episode in the life of people, I understand. So someone came and she was teaching in a private college, private B.Ed college. And my first question was, why do you want to shift? She said, we are not getting that much of salary, so I am trying to shift. Fantastic. So what is your area of research? So she said something on communicative language teaching, etc., etc. I said, what is communicative language teaching? So she said something. I said, tell me three key words about communicative language teaching. That's how we know communicative language teaching. So these are the things happen. She said, sir, I have said. She repeated herself. I gave a clue. She adopted a method of self-correction. She corrected herself to some extent. Then I asked a tricky questions that, okay, I send you to a class of first semester undergraduates and tell you that you teach letter writing communicatively. So how will you start and how will you end? Now, what happens? You have knowledge, whether you have skills, you have to apply it. And at that time, she started sweating. Okay, sir. So you say, you are a teacher, B.Ed college. No, I teach teachers. And when you teach teachers, you can easily teach students. I'm smiling like this. But even if I am smiling, she's sweating like anything. At last, she asked me, sir, what is your qualification? I know I will not get selected, but what is your qualification? So I said, how does it affect you? And how do you know that you are not selected? And she said, no, I have not answered you properly, so I am not selected. So similar things happen when you ask somebody very simple things. Text. You are a text to me. If I say, हाँ आपके पास भी information है ना? So you are a text. Who opposes my argument that she is a text? She is not a text.
She herself maybe.
She herself may be a text. So text is not always a printed book or a printed article. Anything can be a text. And hypertext,
To link with other information.
and then what is HTTP?
It's the full name of maybe link.
Now, give me the full name. I'm using an abbreviation. HTTP. Who knows what is hypertext? देख लिया क्या? गूगल किया ना? क्या हालत है अभी? Somebody may be recording me and say, "Hey, ChatGPT, tell me whether he's saying right or wrong." The job of a teacher is going to be very demanding. Either it will be redundant, there will be no teacher, or there will be a teacher. So, what is your thesis title? Next, I'll search from here. देखना पड़ेगा. हाँ? टाइटल याद नहीं है.
A critical study of women characters and representation theory and
Amish Tripaঠি's novels. I'm trying to locate yours. इतना बड़ा लिस्ट आपका हेड्स ने हमको दे दिया. अभी इसमें ढूंढना पड़ेगा. ढूंढते रह जाओगे.
not from this university.
Okay, you are not from in this university. This is the university.
Maybe it can be. I don't know the list.
Okay, I also don't know. I thought that is a list of the research topics of the students who are participating in this workshop. Okay. So where are you working?
Central University of Krishna.
Under whom?
Prashant Madhikari, sir.
You tell him that you met me. हाँ? Okay. प्रशांत तो यंग बच्चे है पुणे से ना, है ना? हाँ. उनको बोलना. बैठ जाओ. Otanu is actually my contemporary. He got the same scholarship. He studied at the University of Warwick. Hmm. He's now in charge vice chancellor. Okay. I'll meet him day after tomorrow in Godhra. Okay. He is from my city and I talked about him, no? So way back in 2007, Otanu Bhattacharya was academic coordinator. Uh, have a seat. Contemporary retellings of Ramayana myth in search of new cultural meaning. किसका है? I find this interesting. Ethics and ontology of cyborg consciousness. A study of post-humanism in select films. आपका? अरे बाप रे बाप, ये कितना. Say, explain your title. You take your seat. You tell me about your. You tell me a little bit about your title.
Basically, it is about.
You are working here.
Yes, I'm a scholar of this department, but not working. In other college, I'm working. As a research scholar, I'm from
And
this
who
department.
is your supervisor?
Bharat sir.
Who has given the title? Is he?
Yeah, it was refined by him. Yes.
अभी बोलो मतलब क्या है?
In my topic, there is a study of selected films, science fiction films that portrays post-human.
अभी इनको पूछो सब लोग, हाँ, जो पोस्ट ह्यूमन का मतलब क्या है? What is post human?
Okay, in philosophy or Western philosophy, there is concept of humanism, and
Who suggested the concept of post humanism in Western philosophy?
that I forgot.
You forgot?
Yes.
आज तो तुम्हारा मार्क्स काटेगा, वो तो मैं बोल दूंगा उनको। नहीं कुछ बताऊंगा नहीं। Okay, thank you. Forbidden enemy, a cultural critique of social sensitivities. अरे बाप रे बाप, आप इधर काम कर रहे हो?
Yes.
किसके अंडर?
Dr. Dilip Barar.
अरे बाप रे बाप, ऐसा टाइटल दे देता है। You selected this title or he reframed?
No, I selected the title, but it was reframed by him.
What was your original title?
Banned anime. So he removed the word banned and suggested forbidden.
Okay. क्या चक्कर है? अरे बाप रे बाप। Let us find something easy. They are so difficult. Okay. Business English instruction in B School of Gujarat. Who is doing? हाँ? नहीं है? Exploring. No, I'm not going to ask. I know who is doing it. मैंने बोला उनको कि आपका टाइटल में थोड़ा गड़बड़ है। दिलीप बराट के अंडर नहीं होगा, एक निकालते हैं। दलित जर्नलिज्म, ए क्रिटिकल स्टडी ऑफ सिलेक्ट दलित जर्नल्स। नॉट प्रेजेंट। सुइसाइड्स इन लिटरेचर नहीं है, तो सुइसाइड नहीं करना पड़ेगा। Knowledge and narration in the select novels of Julian Barnes, sorry, through the lens of एक गुजराती राइटर होंगे, कोंकणी, capturing आदिवासी culture in Konkani fiction. An investigation of selected controversial Indian English fiction. So why your selection is controversial?
Actually, I have taken the text which was, previously banned initially, as he said, which was, reframed by Bharat sir again, and now I am studying controversial literature.
You are also under Professor
No.
Bharat.
No. My guide is from Shamadas Arts College. Khan sir.
अरे उनसे मिले, वो तो थे ना, he was in the inauguration.
Yes.
हाँ. He was telling me that instead of talking about academic writing, you are talking more about IKS No, I didn't talk about IKS actually. I was talking about indigenous knowledge systems that in our writing, we had a culture of academic writing, right? And how did that culture of academic writing came? Now the problem is there is so much hype about IKS, 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 IKS. Have you heard the name of Kopil Kapoor? हाँ यस कपिल कपूर जी ने एक टर्म को कॉइन किए थे जो इंडियन नॉलेज सिस्टम एंड ही हैपेंस टू बी द PhD supervisor. He was the PhD supervisor of Atanu Bhattacharya. तो कपिल कपूर जी ने इसके टर्म को कॉइन किए थे लेकिन उसको अच्छा लगा पॉलिसी मेकर्स बाबू लोगों को तो उन्होंने आईकेएस लगा दिया आईकेएस साउंड्स वेरी स्वीट एंड कॉनोटेटिव आईकेएस तो इंडिजिनस नॉलेज सिस्टम का मतलब ही आईकेएस हो जो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा ऐसा है नहीं और भारतीयता इज अ वेरी ह्यूज concept, right? So what is Bhartiyata? We can have a debate for 30 days. No problem. So controversial fictions, banned fictions, which are them? Which are the text? Salman's Rushdie's text is a controversial.
Yes, sir.
Which one?
Sign. No, not satanic verses.
Huh?
The moose last sign.
The moose
Moose
last
last
shy.
Sign. SIG.
Sai.
हाँ.
गुजराती M1 interference. वो banned है.
No. It was previously banned.
Previously banned. अच्छा तो पता नहीं ठीक है तो क्या होगा सलमान रश्दी का इंटरव्यू ले लिया आपने
No. But I have heard about his interviews.
तो कैसे काम चलेगा आप तो इंग्लैंड जाना पड़ेगा उनका इंटरव्यू लेना पड़ेगा तभी तो पीएचडी बनेगा ना
Definitely go if university will provide, you know. Too.
नहीं if you are working my submission is very simple if you are working on any living author you should try to take an interview of that author and try to solve some of your questions right because that will be quite authentic
Sir.
so if you can
Excuse me. Actually, I have mailed him thrice before
But
one
he
and a
has
half
not
year, but
responded.
I didn't respond.
why should he respond huh
That is the issue.
that is the issue so many people are working on Salman Rushdie and why and I think he is very old now that could be one of the reasons so yeah so only Salman Rushdie's novel controversial
No. The Naipul's text, the Lajja, Nasrin's text.
Naipaul's text
Yes.
which one
The area of darkness.
अरे ये तो यूनिवर्सिटी में टेक्स्ट है अभी
हाँ.
तो
It was taken out of the syllabus. That is why it became controversial. So that was actually the research problem is.
but I am not very happy with the term controversial
But some of has to be do, no? One has to do the research.
I don't know about your thesis, but if it is, who is your guide, supervisor?
Abdul Shamim Khan sir from Shamardas Arts
Khan
College.
sir. Achha, so I am not very happy because of a simple reason. I'm explaining to you. Suppose a text may be banned for some reason. It could be a political decision, right? It could be a cultural shock that okay we come from a different culture in our culture that may not be acceptable so the cultural apparatus that is presented to that or it could be something which is written the thematic issues or so many things but basically it is a kind of a political decision which is whether a text is to be allowed or banned now most of the texts you are talking about are not at all banned some of them are now taught in the university syllabus or so and so So, once upon a time, there were so many texts that were banned. For example, how many of you have heard about D.H. Lawrence? Huh? Which text of D.H. Lawrence is available in the footpath? Because the name of the novel is, huh? Mrs. Chatterjee is not. Lady Chatterley's lover. ये चैटरली को चैटर्जी बना दिया. Lady Chatterley's lover, right? Or say Novokov's Lolita. Because of their explicit sexual content, those texts were banned. Okay, because they were shocking to our culture of sensitivity. Okay, now think about the term controversial, because I am quite uncomfortable with the term controversial. How are they controversial? Simply because they were banned, they were controversial. So you have to struggle a lot to impress upon a very critical and discerning examiner. Right. Good luck. Eco-critical concerns in the selected Indian literature. नहीं है? Okay. So, okay, we have got quite a good overview of this, and then we have MA people. हाँ, नाम इसमें नाम है. निशिता देसाई. निष्ठा देसाई, sorry. निष्ठा देसाई, sorry. रीडिंग तारे जमीन पर थ्रू डिसेबिलिटी स्टडीज, डिसलेक्सिया, पेडागोजी एंड फैमिली डायनामिक्स. फिल्म के ऊपर. So you are critiquing the film.
No, I'm- no, sir, I have not written in the movie, but that Ishan. Ishan is a character who have dyslexia. So through that perspective, how that his parents compare his with his elder brother, and in that movie also that different pedagogy and importance of art painting.
Pedagogy.
Yes, in when he was
What is pedagogy?
teaching learning process.
Teaching learning process is
Yes.
pedagogy.
Yes.
Google. If you can show the teaching learning process is pedagogy, I will stop teaching and go home.
Sorry.
No, show me. Pedagogy. It comes from a Greek word.
The method and practice of teaching, especially as an academic subject or a theoretical concept.
And what did you say?
I said that teaching learning process.
What do you find?
That practice of teaching.
There is one more thing. Pedagogy relates to children,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes.
And what relates to adults?
I,
Huh? Very good. So you have hepatogogy. So there are so many gojis. Okay, is not goj, gojis. Now, why andragogy is about the adult and how adult learning is different from the child's learning? How adult learning is different from child's learning?
can be a condition.
How do you learn?
The levels are of a different kind. Like in pedagogy, there are different kind of student who has different level. At some time, they are just having the basic level, which is 1 and 2, if we can rank them. And in andragogy, we have to analytically analyze them.
Okay, thank you. Now, yes.
Should I take a stand and speak?
No, you can sit.
Okay, according to my knowledge, the very meaning time I would like to say that how do I learn, as you say, asked. So we actually, as an individual, grown-up individual, learn with the experience of life, putting in into a box with a different scenario and things. While we are teaching little kids, we actually push them, and while we are teaching adults, we actually want to know that what they have actually explored through their journey so far. So that can be the difference between these two. According to
We adults learn when we take the ownership of learning. Now, बराड़ साहब ने बोला ये टाइटल ठीक नहीं है, मैं रिफेम कर देता हूं, पीएचडी हो जाएगा. So he is doing PhD. And why he is doing PhD? After PhD, he will look a job for an assistant professor. कहीं पे अभी ये पढ़ाते हैं तो थोड़ा इम्प्रूवमेंट इन द स्केल पे और यूनिवर्सिटी सिस्टम और कॉलेज सिस्टम में हो जाएगा. ठीक है. सो ही इज लर्निंग बिकॉज ही इज टेकिंग ओनरशिप that I will gain this. This is a kind of an investment, right? In when you look at the child does not invest. He doesn't know or she doesn't know anything about investment, that I am investing to do all this. They are more concerned about play and fun, right? So play and fun, there is a term called pedagogical turn. So the pedagogical turn actually takes place in the adolescence. So in the adolescence, what happens? Suddenly the children realize, for example, when you were in class 8 or 9, meaning in your teens, you suddenly realized that you have to something. हमको कुछ बनना है. Right? So that's the kind of a turn. And you slowly, imperceptibly, you move from, childhood like sort of play and fun to more serious sort of ownership, and you completely overhaul your learning process. So that is very important. You have to learn. Now, by this time, we have come to formality. So this is an example, is a summative text. This example tells you about the 4 things, exemplifies the 4 things. What is formality and what is objectivity? How it is focused on the reaction. Clarity, logical sequence of action and result. So what is the action here? Action is actually an exothermic reaction. And what is the result? It reached 85 degrees centigrade temperature. Okay, so you have to establish it. It is also known as causality. Causality. And you talked about hypertext. So in hypertext, you have to remember about intertextuality, because text is a text. Text, metatext, hypertext, and the relation is intertextuality. Okay. Precision, you mention the exact temperature. That is the precision. For example, when you will be doing data analysis, if you use some software to do data analysis, I think most of you who will be doing research in the field of English language education, or if you are not doing research in literature, then you look at, the precision. You will try to find out that what exactly is happening, and then you will try to interpret why is this happening. I don't know whether this link is supplied to you. No. Yes. So can you open this paper? Because now our work will be focusing on this paper only. The worksheet is on this paper. So the first thing is you have to identify the key features of academic writing that I talked about. What are the key features of academic writing? इधर उधर मत देखो, हम हमारे उधर इधर. Formality, objectivity, clarity, precision. Very good. Now look at this paper. What is your question? The question is, look at the introduction part. Okay. An introduction part, look at page 3 of the introduction part and page 4. Page 3 and page 4. Not here, but of this paper. The paper that I showed. I don't have your mobile number, so I cannot forward it to you. I can open the paper from here, definitely, but I don't know that will disturb.
Provided to us.
Huh?
Paper is not provided to us in PDF link because we have.
Can you use Google link Lens? Huh?
ये वाला paper है.
हाँ.
हाँ, खुल रहा है.
हाँ?
Scan करके.
Scan करना पड़ेगा. So he has a solution.
इसका फोटो लेने के बाद उसको
क्या करना है थोड़ा बता दो.
इसका फोटो ले लीजिए, क्रोम में गूगल लेंस में उसको स्कैन करवाना है, फिर वहां से कॉपी करके पीडीएफ वहां से आ जाएगा.
आ गया. So technologically so advanced, they can copy me also. Today, AI is actually giving you fantastic time. So for example, when I have nothing to do, I put my pictures in certain AI softwares and I see I'm riding on a horse, I'm on an elephant, I'm fighting with a lion, right? So lots of things may happen. It is a kind of an entertainment, and it shows that how you can imagine and reimagine things. Okay, stretches your imagination a lot. So look at page 3 and page 4 of the article. And now look at question number 1 in your worksheet, page 1. Example from introduction. These papers, an example from literature review. I have given you the prompt. This paper argues and arguably literature review. वाह, मिल गया सबको. Everybody has got it.
यहाँ पर भी है.
हाँ?
यहाँ से भी स्कैन कर सकते हैं. यहाँ पर भी है ये शायद डिलीट हो गया.
हाँ, अच्छा. You got it? So who can give me answer? Please raise your hand.
Sir, will you please repeat the instructions?
The instruction is simple, is written in the worksheet number 1. Example from introduction. which starts with this paper argues in page 3 of the article. And it is a case of formality. I'm trying to give you the understanding of formality in research papers. Got it? Who can tell me the answer or your response? I have given you prompt, it should be easy. But I have not given you the end of it. So where will you stop? This paper argues. Okay, ready? Who is ready? Yes, please.
This paper argues of the role of the grammar in teaching of English language in foreign language.
So this is the response, right? The key word is dichotomous thinking. This paper argues that it is this confusion that deserves a consideration regarding dichotomous thinking. So you will not write that in this paper I am going to establish. Okay? Next one. Example from literature review. अभी फोन लेना है तो बाहर जाके करो ले लो. Arguably. A bit louder so that everybody can hear.
Arguably, it is reasonable to assert that the mispronunciation of the
Of grammar is in CLT based lesson, and the advert of G and ELF have contributed to a lesser role of grammar in the use of English.
Very good. Okay. Now, next one, objectivity. Look at the page 3. The literature review outlines both the non-interface position. What is the non-interface position and what is the interface position? Can you find? The non-interface position is grammar is unnecessary and the interface position is grammar is essential. So why dichotomous? Why dichotomous? Because some people think that grammar is essential, some people think grammar is non-essential. So that's why dichotomous thinking. Okay? Clear? So that means you are presenting multiple viewpoints and you are trying to develop your argument. So the argument is developed stage by stage. We will look at how we can develop argument in our writing. The next example of data-driven conclusion. The data-driven conclusion is like this. The findings also point that none of them rejected grammar and the teaching of grammar outright. That is the findings. So, what is the hypothesis? The hypothesis could be that learning grammar or teaching grammar, say learning grammar is important for learning English. That is the hypothesis. What could be the research questions? Will a group of learners from 10 to 15 learn grammar in isolation? Will a group of learners from 10 to 15 learn grammar through inductive method? So this could be the research questions. You break it up and then you capture the multiple viewpoints and then you try to conclude by saying that, okay, none of them is saying that grammar should be rejected. That means de facto conclusion is grammar learning is essential. Okay? Clarity. I'm going a little bit faster to make up. Example of signpost and structure. Look at the introduction. The introduction ends. Look at the ending of the introduction. It says, in the next section, English language instruction in Thailand will be discussed to provide the context of the study. So introduction is followed by the context. The hypothesis is yet to come. The research question is yet to come. The literature review is yet to come. Because once you formulate your research questions, then can only you do literature review, or there is other way around. We sometimes say that you do the literature review and the literature review will show you the gaps and then you address your research questions to those gaps. So what do? You talk about your context, you do the literature review. Let me give you one example. Bhavnagar is very famous for what? Huh? गाठिया खाने के लिए. So you are feeling hot. So people are feeling hot. So what should you do? Fan. Nobody has asked you any questions so far. I will ask you questions. ACs are all operating. Ah, now you will feel. Okay, anyway. So what happens? So Bhavnagar is famous for? Okay. So that is the hypothesis. Now hypothesis is to be tested. How can we test? So I will send 5 MA students, 5 PhD research scholars to test Gatia from different shops from Bhavnagar. Okay? They will test on the basis of, you have to select the criteria. Basis of size, oil used, taste, color, okay, softness. So you say, I mean, so these people are becoming already great researchers. हाँ हाँ क्या हुआ? सब खाने पीने में एक्सपर्ट है. No, I was thinking of what example should I take. Now this you send people and they come and give you the data. You analyze using MS Excel or you can use lots of software, Statistica or whatever tools you know to operate. So you analyze that quantitative data and you find that the soft and less oily gatia is more palatable. What was our research question? Huh?
Why Bhavnagar is famous for Gatia?
Why Bhavnagar is famous for Gatia? Now, does this answer our research question? No.
You should also, sir, taste Gatia from other cities.
Exactly. So, I will send 5 more students. I will send 5 more students to Surat. I will send 5 more students to, Ahmedabad, Baroda, and they will also taste Gatia, and then we will triangulate. Okay. And if we find that the Gatia from Bhavnagar, tastes the best, then our hypothesis is proved. Okay. So that is all about research. This is how we go for research. Now, we are joking, but this is actually happening when you are actually trying to do your research. Now, in most cases, what we do see, there is, I will not pass any unofficial comments that will be recorded. Okay, I'm sometimes tempted to say certain things, but I will not say. Here is the camera, here is the camera, and this one is moving at me. But the thing is, so in most cases, research becomes less objective, more narrativized. That is the problem. And that's why those researches, those findings are not able to see the light of a good publication. You have to be very careful about this. We may be joking about Gatia, but I am trying to hit at a point to make you understand that where you should focus on. Okay. So where are we? Okay. According to Ellis, grammar can be categorized into prescriptive grammar and descriptive grammar. That is the defining terms, data presentation. So look at your questionnaire. The next thing we will move to precision. This is an example of precision. Page 9 of your article, which you scanned. In the bracket of the instruction, you will see the page number. So go to that page number. Precision, precise methodology. You see the reference to Gatia becomes very seminal. One category enrolled in an English tutorial class, TOEFL. Second category enrolling in an English academic reading course. Why? For triangulation. We take data from different sources and then we triangulate. This is precise claims. The last two terms maybe some of you may not be familiar with. I am not saying that you are hearing for the first time in your life, but may not be familiar. For example, the term grammatical ability and grammatical performance. We find what is your grammatical ability. In order to understand that, I have to give him some certain grammar tests, and depending upon the number of score, I will rate him as good, average, excellent. That is your grammatical ability. But your grammatical performance is your actual use. When you write a few sentences, we will examine how good you write. That means how your sentences reveal no grammar error or grammatical error. Now, if we give you have a sentence like this: once grammar was taught with clear objectives, test to understand the English reading and participants found it useful. Here, regarding formality, you have clear objectives. Objectivity reports the finding from the study. You are not reporting the data that you are finding from the study, that is getting reported. So not the researcher, but the finding. The second thing is clarity. Objectives, clear objectives, usefulness, and precision specific examples. For example, TOEFL test, IELTS test, or something like that. IELTS. How many of you have heard about IELTS test? IELTS. How many of you have taken the test? Hmm? No. So you have not taken. You have taken IELTS test. Very good. Do you know there are only 2 Indians who have got funding from IELTS to do research? Who are they? Only 2 Indians so far have got research grant from IELTS to do research. Who are they? क्या होगा? हाँ? बताओ. Who are the 2 Indians? Okay, that is your home task. Should I give you a home task? Or are you going to ask Google? Oh, you are asking already. आंसर आ गया? नेट नहीं आया? सीरी बताएगा नहीं, नेट नहीं है. She is showing E. No net. जा. Shush.
Sir, Vijay Srivastav and Ashtamurti Killamangalam.
This is articles. These are articles. Who are the 2 Indians who got funding from IELTS for research? That is the question. मिल गया? Now they are competing with each other. Can anybody give me an answer?
Narayan Singh
Narayan Singh.
and Arindam Sen Gupta.
They got funding from IELTS research.
No, that's not.
Sir, your name is also mentioned here.
Where? No, it's not mine. It is a different project. Jayanti Banerjee from the University of Lancaster, most probably in 1980s. She used to teach at the University of Lancaster. She got around 26,000 British pounds to do research on Indian students appearing in IELTS examination. Okay. The second project was sanctioned in which year? In 2012. most probably 2012. If you have to go to IELTS research, you have to search IELTS research, and then you will find the projects they have funded. Who told me? You. Google is not. Google must be maybe showing ELT RMS. Huh. Huh? No, not that one. It is with Richard Badger and Martin Lamb, University of Leeds. You have to go to IELTS research. There you will get. They fund every year. The only problem is somebody from the UK or Australia have to be your co-researcher. You cannot submit proposal from India straightway. Both collaborative research. Okay. Structure of the academic paper. This is you are familiar with, all of you. Introduction, methods, results, and discussion. Okay, this is something you know. Title page. Abstract. When you write an abstract, you should cover these four things. For example, why are you doing this research? Or why are you writing this paper? If you are writing an abstract for a paper, or if you are writing an abstract for your research proposal, the first thing to think about why. Why are you examining this issue? The second thing is the method that you are going to use. Okay. The third thing is what are the key findings? Because when you are writing the paper, you have already finished your research or that portion of the research. Suppose in your PhD thesis there may be 7 chapters. So maybe you have completed working on the 3 chapters, you have written the 3 chapters, and you are writing your paper in one of the chapters or about one of the chapters. So in that case, the findings from that particular research are with you. So you can talk about those findings, you can share those findings. And then concludes. Concludes meaning what is the relevance of this research? How is it going to be replicated? For example, I am doing a study on, this is an example I am not doing. I am doing a study of, say, using AI with my group of learners to teach academic writing. And now, how is this research important for a European context? Suppose I am going to present in Switzerland. So how will it connect to the Swiss learners or Swiss teachers? That is your conclusion part or contextualization. Now in introduction, this is something you have to follow carefully. What do you start with in your introduction? You start with a hook. What is a hook? Hook ऐसा नहीं है. This is also a hook. Hook means something which draws the attention. Okay. For example, even today, in his session, Dr. Paresh Joshi started with an anecdote, a shairi or something like that. Why is it so? To draw, to grab your attention, right? So simple thing like that. Then the problem statement. I asked some of you the what is the problem? I was asking this? Because of this. The what is the problem? Now let us take another example. You teach a group of students. Let us identify. How many of you are teachers here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Only 6 teachers. Okay. So 6 teachers. So what do you teach, ma'am? At what level? BA. Okay. So any component that you cover? Okay. Stories, drama, translation. Just imagine that she is teaching Merchant of Venice with her students. She is going to class every day. She is very attentive. She is very regular. She is using worksheets. She is making no stone unturned to help her students to do well. But when the results are coming out, she finds that they have not done that well that she expected. So the obvious question to you is, what is going wrong? Why am I where I am not doing what I should have done? So she will start a research, maybe a small scale research, and that could lead to a paper. This can be called action research, right? So you can start a very small scale research. You are trying to find out that what is wrong with your teaching methodology, or what is wrong with your tasks, or something like that, or what you could do to help them more. How will you do it? So the first is the problem statement. So your problem is, you are teaching this with the best of your abilities, still they are not showing results that you are expecting. That is your problem. So then you will start problematizing it, and you will start exploring it further, and then you will see that, going through some of the research articles, that in some context people are finding similar research in teaching geography, maybe teaching education, maybe teaching philosophy, or maybe teaching English. So what do? So you think about the questions that I am going to ask. What questions I am going to ask? Should I ask questions like, what is wrong with my methodology? Or should I follow it up with some small questions, that what can I do to improve upon my methodology? So that's the question. So then you prepare a questionnaire. Okay, in questionnaire you distribute among your learners. You get a sort of responses. Based on the responses, you select 5 or 6, randomly select 5 or 6 learners. You interview them. You get more qualitative data, and now you triangulate the quantitative data with the qualitative data to see where actually you need to look at. Okay, so that is your findings. So that's the kind of a framework. So maybe you are using CLT, communicative language teaching, but you could perhaps use PPP. And then you establish the significance. Now, what implications does it have for society, for the economic setup, for policymakers, so and so. Who are the participants? Instruments, validation, data collection, data analysis, which I touched upon, right? I think I left the questionnaire there. ठीक है ना? Now look at the paper again. That paper. Findings. Pages 12 to 15 and 15 to 20. Now, if you look at the quantitative, in quantitative analysis, what we do, you remember the story of Gatia? Color, softness, use of oil, so and so. So these are the items, specific questionnaires items. Now you arrange the specific questionnaire items and beside it you put how many of them actually liked it. So similarly, here in the questionnaires, you frame your questions and you see how many of the liked it. So you will get to know that which method or which day or which sort of task your students like more. So you come up with more such tasks. You use that method more. Okay. In qualitative sort of analysis, what you do? You put those categories that you have already identified and then you put what they have said in the interview beside it, which match. Okay, and then you try to thematically represent the views. You can use software like ANOVA and others which are nowadays available on subscription for analysis. Some of the universities do have those softwares and you can do wonderful sort of things. Now, so what do we get? Research questions, previous literature cited earlier, theoretical implications, pedagogical implications. Pedagogical implications is what your students are saying through your questionnaires and through the interviews, what sort of implications they have on the pedagogy or in your method of teaching. And the other thing is theoretical implications, that what adjustments should be made in the theorization of, say, communicative language teaching, task-based language teaching, direct method, or so and so. Then you summarize main findings and contrast your findings with public perceptions. What do people think? Do the people think that this should happen or no? This is based on that article on the Thai journal. So you know the structure of a paper. Okay? Now, when you start writing, another thing is important is your writing style and tone. Some of you are already working on the style. What is the style of the author and how does it impact on the thematic interpretation? Look at the questionnaire in page number 4. Formal academic tone. Here I will talk more about hedging. This is something I said. No contraction, uses does not instead of doesn't. Remember. Technical terminology, dichotomous thinking, metalinguistic explanation, triangulation, pedagogical grammar, impersonal voice. This study was conducted, not we conducted. For example, I, in a way, rebuked ma'am when she said that I establish. I said, who are you to establish? So the study was conducted, not we conducted. The participants were asked, not we asked the participants. So passive voice is used. And then hedging language appears. I said that I will come to that. Seems, tend to. Now, why do we hedge when we are uncertain? We are not sure about the conclusion, or we are not sure about the interpretation of our findings. Objectives: data driven claim, citation support, balanced presentation. Citation support is a key. When you are doing research, both in language or in literature, whenever you read an article, how should you read it? This is not included in my presentation, but that just came to my mind. How should you read an article for your research? Huh? Hmm. So when you read, what else do you do? What questions the paper is trying to answer. In an abstract itself, we get an idea that what is, why, the purpose of the research, the conclusion of the research. So it is. अरे इतना सारे all these things कोहेन वगैरह रिसर्च मेथड्स में लिख चुके हैं. Take some practical steps. No. There you will not be able to do things. Do one more thing. I am giving you practical tips. Very important. You create some cards like this, right? 2 inches or 3 inches by 1.5 inches card. Any problem? Confusion? You create a card. In the absence of the card, you can have a notebook, short notebook. Now, why the card is important? Because you can mismatch later on. So, for example, if you find something significant to what you are doing, so you put the page number, line number, topic number, right? Or name of the topic, page number, line number, and keep it there. Okay, at one point of time, you will find the similar sort of things in 5. You put them together. Then you go through the 5 articles simultaneously, looking at your 5 cards. Okay, this is an old method. Sounds tricky. सुना नहीं आपने, अभी बोला रिपीट करो. मिस ये जो जब हमारी जो वो कंप्यूटर में है वो वर्ड में वहां भी हम वो कोटेशन अभी पेस्ट कर सकते हैं. आप क्या करते हैं हमको मालूम है. एक आर्टिकल आप पढ़ते हैं, उसको कॉपी पेस्ट करके वर्ड में डाल देते हैं, फिर उसका खिचड़ी बन जाता है, उसमें इंटरलिंक नहीं होता. अरे हम भी थीसिस देखते हैं, आपको ज्यादा कुछ नहीं बताएंगे इधर. मैं इधर बैठा हूं टुमारो अप टू 3 PM। आप दो चारों थीसिस इधर से निकाल के लेके आइए ना, मैं आपको दिखाता हूं क्या है उसमें।
नहीं, मैं क्या कह रही हूँ कि जो आप जो कार्ड पे कह रहे हैं वो वर्ड में उधर जो रेफरेंसिंग वाला आता है वो हम अब अगर हमारे जो वर्ड की फाइल है लिखते हैं तो वहाँ वो अगर वो जो कोटेशन हमें यूजफुल लग रहा है तो रेफरेंस में वो डाल दे तो
I am not saying that at all.
वो
I am talking about presenting thematic clusters or for your argument. For example, you first thing you are doing a literature review. So what you are doing, you have a context of your research, you have a hypothesis. Accordingly, you are reading so many literature reviews, papers, academic papers, book chapters or books you are reading. Now, when you are reading, if you get something important, for example, one of the themes that you have identified for comparing three authors, three novelists, is one is say marriage, money, politics. These are the power 4 points. Now what you are doing in a particular, you create a card, and in the card you write down the topic, right, page number, okay, line number, lines 3 to 7. Okay, so now after reading 7 or 8 articles, what you will see that in 2 or 3 of them you have similarities. So you put them together and you read those articles again or chapters again. Okay, and then what you can do, you can say that Chan, Muller, Desai talked about this. You put them together. Okay, this is how it is going to help you. So it is not according to Nunan, but according to Nunan Richards or others, right? Similarly, you can use others as well. Transitions, very simple. In the next sections, headings, subheadings, preview statements, introduction, findings, precision in language. How many categories of participants, how many sets of questionnaires, right? Similarly, you think now this is important. Never use you, we, I. Though there is a beautiful article on authorial I by Kane Highland or Kane Highland, right? On authorial I. Should we use I or procedural I or authorial I? But basically, we should not use I, but in paper these days there is a controversy. Sometimes we use I, sometimes we don't use. But we don't use you or we. That for sure. So no emotional language, no colloquial expression. Let us now look at writing conventions. How many conventions are there? There are 10. There are 10 conventions. Formal academic register. You can read. Okay? Now, if you analyze that, what do you gather? Now, all these things are based on, meaning, for example, this is actually based from introduction page 3 of that article. Okay? And now you have elevated vocabulary, complex structures, objective phrasing, no contractions, and field specific terminology. Look at the citation. There are two examples of citations. For example, crash in 1982 or Sugiharto 2019. These are two quotations. One is from page 1 and another is, one is from page 4, one is from page 8 of that article. If you look and analyze it, you will see there is a consistent APA style. It's not MLA. Many of the universities tell you that which conventions to follow, MLA, APA, Chicago, or whatever it is. I don't know. What is the MLA? So you have to buy an MLA handbook. Okay, I don't know whether it is downloadable easily, or maybe you have to. But these days there are you can go to Mendeley and transfer APA to MLA, or there are other websites also which actually transfer the citations. You copy the citations of the article which is given at the end of it, and then you can transfer it from APA to MLA. So if you take direct quotations, remember this, if you take direct quotations, you have to precisely attribute it. Meaning who, page number, year. You have to paraphrase with attribution. If you paraphrase someone, you are not quoting directly. If you are paraphrasing, then you say crash in 2022. Becomes much more easier. You don't have to mention page number. Integration of quotes, no problem. Hyperlinks, lost access tornado. When did you last access it? Meaning activated. Now this is something important. There are papers on reporting verbs. For example, Eli Hinkel has written papers on use of passive voice in academic writing, use of verbs in academic writing. She has got a large number of papers. For example, these are reporting verbs: proposed, argued, suggested. It was suggested, it was argued, something like that. Not I argue, we argue. I argue, you may use, but we argue or you argue, please do not use. Objective, inconsistent. Hedging language might be inconsistent. This is hedging. Not is consistent. When you are sure that it is consistent or inconsistent, you write it directly. When you are not sure, What do? You say might be. That is hedging. You are not sure. You are in the middle. Okay. Say, for example, majority of the respondents. You are not sure that are the 100% of the respondents. If the 100% of the respondents, then all the respondents. If 95%, majority of the respondents. If 20%, minority of the respondents. Methodology. We dealt with this. Do you know what is this? N is equal to 20? Huh? Who knows? Exactly. Total sample size. N. Do you know mean deviation, standard deviation, statistics? हाँ? आपको पता है? अच्छा, कैसे पता है? आप तो इंग्लिश का स्टूडेंट हो। 11-12 में स्टैटिस्टिक्स था, तो क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है अभी समझ में आया? इसको आप लगा सकते हो। मीन डिविएशन, स्टैंडर्ड डिवीजन, सब कुछ लग जाएगा। ठीक है, जियोमेट्रिक मीन आपको याद है? थोड़ा 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 याद है। थोड़ा थोड़ा याद है। इस वर्कशॉप का एक फॉलो अप वर्कशॉप होना चाहिए। तब मैं थोड़ा टास्क दे के जाऊंगा और 2 महीने के बाद आऊंगा और बोलूंगा जब दिखाओ क्या है आपका, क्या मिला है। उसके बाद आप सब पेपर लिखोगे और उसका पब्लिश होगा। ठीक है ना? तो पब्लिश होने के लिए सबसे बड़ा अभी इंडेक्स क्या है? कौन सा इंडेक्स वाला जर्नल में छपाना है? स्कोपस। स्कोपस में। अरे स्कोपस में पेपर छपाने के लिए प्राइस क्या है? 35। मेरे पास कॉल आ जाता है, सर आपको कोपस में छपाना है क्या? हाँ, मैं क्यों छपाना है? और नहीं, आपको 35। आई एम टेलिंग द ट्रूथ। आई एम टेलिंग द ट्रूथ। राइट? ऐसा ऐसा है ना? सारे अभी व्हाट्सएप में मैसेजेस आता है, फोन आता है, ईमेल आता है आपके पास। इंडिया का ये इंडस्ट्री बड़ा इंडस्ट्री है। और एक इंडस्ट्री है, आपको पता चलेगा, ओपन एक्सेस पब्लिकेशन। अभी ये स्कीम चालू है। अभी टेलर फ्रांसिस का कोई जर्नल में अब ओपन एक्सेस के लिए उसका फीस होता है। ओपन एक्सेस के लिए फीस। अरे ओपन एक्सेस होगा, सब लोग पढ़ेगा तो बड़े मीनिंग इज अ गुड नोबल कॉज, बट नो यू हैव टू पे $200 $500 और समथिंग आपको पे करना पड़ेगा। So in order to be an open access, so you do a good research, you want others to publish, but that is a problem. It is a problem because if more people read it, you have to pay for it. So we should think about some mechanisms, how we can, compete with those canonical database। वो बना के रखा है, स्कोपस में पेपर आ जाएगा, आपकी ऑटोमेटिक आ जाता है। मेरा जब किताब निकालते हो ऑटोमेटिकली स्कोपस, वो मैंने देखता हूँ गूगल स्कॉलर में उसका इंडेक्सिंग हो गया, ऑटोमेटिक सब कुछ है। ओके, स्ट्रक्चर्ड। ये आपको मैंने दे दिया, ये जो एनालिसिस पार्ट ना, दिस इज इन द क्वेश्चन यार। सो आई एम नॉट रिपीटिंग इट बिकॉज I have lots of areas to cover. Impersonal voice, integration of evidence. Now remember these 4 things. Findings and interpretation, they are not the same. Findings and interpretation are not the same. What do I say? But you have to establish a direct connection between the two. Then you can reach the conclusion. Okay? डिसिप्लिन स्पेसिफिक कोई अगर आप ग्रामर में जाओ और एसएलए सेकेंड लैंग्वेज एक्विजिशन में, मैं लैंग्वेज का ही ज्यादा रेफरेंस दे रहा हूं. क्वालिफाइड क्लेम्स और हेजिंग, clear sign posting. Now this is the thing that you have in your handout number 1. So this is not in the handout. So what we have covered so far in terms of writing conventions: formality, objectivity, precision, citation, structure, hedging, discipline awareness, and synthesis. Try to remember all these things. I have covered also RADA. कैसे पहुंचे ऊपर? बाहर जाना है, फाइल्स ऊपर से उसको कट कर दो तो चला जाएगा. हाँ हाँ हाँ, सेशंस 2, ये जो 2 ये वाला छोड़ दो. हाँ हाँ, थैंक यू. कोशिश करते 2-4 मिनट के लिए. हाँ, so it's now 5. How long will you be? 6 o'clock? 6 o'clock नहीं, 5 तो खत्म हो गया. I will touch upon 2 to 3 slides, then we'll start tomorrow. Okay? Core structure of the argument. So far, hello, मेरे को मालूम है how difficult it is to stay and sit like this. I am walking, so I'm more relaxed. So far we have covered the structure, style and tone, and conventions. Okay? Now we are going to argument, how to develop the argument. Now I have a simple questions. सुबह परेश जोशी साहब ने आपको जो लेक्चर दिया ना, डेवलपिंग academic writing, has he covered any of these areas? Huh?
Sir, he taught us how to develop our prompt to get argument, desired argument.
Okay. So from prompts in Chat GPT or AI tools. Okay, good. Okay, so the core structure of the argument. So first your thesis. So what is your thesis? You have a title of a thesis. When I read the title, in most cases, I do not understand what you are going to talk about. So when I found it difficult to understand what you are going to talk about in your thesis, I asked you to explain. So those people whom I disturbed is because of this reason. Now you are coming there. So a strong argument is built on a clear classical structure. This is a structure which is here for many years. And this is the Western structure. If you go to Arthashastra, the whole Arthashastra, what is the book all about? Huh? It is about economics. Anybody has got a copy of Arthashastra at home? Huh? Who said yes? Anybody who said आपके पास है घर में काल सुबह लेके आना okay it is about politics governance. I will say that it is all about structuring an argument, because Kautilya has used a number of tantra jukti. Okay, so it is not that in the morning I was trying to say it was not that we in our tradition we were people who were actually snake charmers. We actually developed an argument. Unfortunately, the Tantra Jukti principles are not applied to develop. It is not recognized. If you follow the Tantra Jukti structure, uses different Tantra Jukti to develop your thesis will be rejected. This is unfortunate in India. We do not value our own system. We look at what the Western American system is, because they have money and they are telling me what to do. Now, so you have a main point or position. So that is the title of your thesis or the title of your abstract. The second is, what evidence do you have to support your claim? The third thing is the reasoning, why your evidence supports your claim. So if the evidence that you think it is an evidence, but it does not support your claim, throw that evidence in the dustbin. You don't need that evidence. If you read something from a chapter, from a paper, or from a book, and you feel that it does not support your thesis that way, throw it in the dustbin. Don't go back. Don't waste your time. Don't read that article again. Okay, so evidence that supports your claim is important. What is your claim? Hypothesis. Counter argument and rebuttal. You can test your hypothesis. Either you can accept your hypothesis or you can reject your hypothesis. If you accept your hypothesis, you present arguments to support it. If you reject your hypothesis, then you present arguments to oppose it. Correct? Then conclusion. Significance, relevance. What relevance do you have? Now I stop here, but I give you a task. Tonight you will not be able to sleep. So when you go back to your respective rooms, homes, or wherever you are, and take a shy of relief and everything, think about your research. For example, MS students, you also think about what you are doing. And you think about your hypothesis, you think about your evidence, your claim, and your relevance of your work. And everyone prepare a short note on these 5 points, short notes within 200 words. This is true for you also. I will begin with a group discussion tomorrow, because my job is to pass the experience and the skills. is not to give you a kind of a lecture from an elevated pulpit that Francis Bacon used to do in the Renaissance. Okay, and I will try to find 5-10 theses from the library and ask you to examine and tell me. Thesis लेके आएंगे और लाइब्रेरी से अब वापस दे कर देंगे. Okay, so I wish you all the best. Sleep tight. I have given you the instructions, na? So 200 words on 5 points, both the PhD scholars on their PhD, wherever it is, and the MA students. You come prepared tomorrow. And you bring a copy of Artha Shastra. Yes. Based on your topics or topics you are thinking to work on.
Just a minute, everyone. First of all, thank you so much, sir, for your interactive and informative session. We enjoy a lot. And for all participants, where is the list of attendance sheet? Is anyone find any mistake in your names in attendance sheet? Okay. So for all participants, I request you all to please have your high tea outside the department at garden. Thank you so much. Here we are concluding this session. And we also looking forward for yet another session of Dr. Kalyan, sir.